All right, so I'm about to do my speech on my informative argument and talking about business administration and how we can use it to utilize the gifts that God has given us in the workplace. Here's my audience. Say hello, guys. All right. So you can use business administration in the workplace to really bring glory to God, and you can use different attributes and characteristics that He has given us to do that. So some of these could be leading by example. Leadership in general is going to be a huge part of business administration, and it's something that you learn and you go through and you use every single day in leading your employees and your coworkers. Another thing is exhortation. That's how you are able to keep your coworkers and your employees accountable for what they're doing and push them to do their best work. And also, you're in charge of keeping your coworkers and your employees accountable. That's a big part of it. All right, so leadership in the workplace is an absolutely necessary thing, and in business administration, you're able to equip that and utilize that in a way that's bigger than a lot of other degrees are able to do for you. So without leadership, the entire workplace would just fall apart. Without leadership, we would have no guidelines and nobody carrying out those guidelines. James 1:3 actually says, "Not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that you will be judged more strictly." And in the same way, as a business administration major, you will be stepping up as a leader, which means you will be held more accountable by teaching those people. You are having to do that yourself, otherwise you'll be hypocritical, and that's not necessarily what the Bible wants us to do. If we look at the disciples and how God called them and took them in one by one, and they were able to lead other people to Christ through that, that is a perfect example of leadership and how they were able to step up and learn from God Himself and Jesus, learn from Jesus, and then utilize that and lead others to Christ as a result. And while leadership is very effective, it would not be effective without accountability. Accountability, a boss should hold each employee accountable to not only themselves and what they've said that they will do, but also what the boss needs of them and what is required of that job. Laying out rules and expectations is helpful, and it's necessary as a part of just an occupation, but actually holding somebody accountable and watching them do what they're told and making sure that they are not only performing, but performing to the amount that is needed of them is a huge part. And Proverbs 27:17 says, "Iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend." Same way here, accountability is not necessarily used to hurt somebody or to hurt their feelings, but it's used so that you know that your workers are doing what they're supposed to do and that what is getting done is being done well and to the best of their abilities. If nobody was keeping each other accountable, then nothing would happen. People would be unmotivated in the workplace, and there would be no line there of what's okay and what's not. As a result of not having that accountability partner in the workplace or that figure in the workplace, there will be less quantity and there will be less quality in the performance of the work. And there are several ways that employees can keep bosses can keep their employees accountable, and one of those is through exhorting them. Exhorting them is actually a biblical term, but Merriam-Webster actually defines it by saying it's an insight by argument or advice, and it also means to urge strongly. Exhortation forces a boss not only to encourage and push their employees, but also to crack down on unacceptable behavior. And while in the workplace, I would love to say that as a boss, I'm going to work hard to not hurt my employees' feelings or to work best with them and compromise, there's also going to be that place where you have to step up and put your foot down and tell them what is unacceptable and what is acceptable. And exhortation allows a boss to tell their employees what exactly is not okay, what is okay, and if it's not being done, then you have to take those steps from there. In Thessalonians 5:14, it says, "We urge you, brethren, admonish the unruly, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, and be patient with everybody." The same kind of thing is in the workplace. I know firsthand that when I started my first job, I could not have done it if I was not being exhorted constantly and told what to do and when to do it, and getting that kind of guideline. It's a huge part of it. So in conclusion, this workplace degree of business administration will equip you with so many different characteristics and traits and skills that could be utilized completely in the workplace to be a boss or an employer or whatever you need to do. And you can also use that not only to benefit you, but you can benefit God through that. And like I said, that's through leadership. You can do accountability, exhortation. Daily, you're going to be challenged in a way that can bring glory to God and in your workplace. Thank you so much.